All right, what is up, horror fans? Welcome to the YouTube channel Cutting Deep, where we dive into the crypts and cut deep into your favorite horror films. I am here with my co-host, the Old Turtle Den.
Hello.
And I am your main host, Jordan Wright, former owner of channel JW Visuals, which is connected to this, so check that out as well. And we got
a podcast on there, right?
Yes, we just actually recorded an episode for that today, so that'll be up pretty soon. So hopefully by the time we post this, that'll kind of be getting uploaded around the same time. But if you like any horror short films, that's what I do on that channel. So also subscribe to that. That's kind of like the little partner channel added onto this. But today we are actually talking about a really cool franchise. It's actually one of my favorite horror franchises ever. It got me kind of into horror films from the beginning, and that's Hellraiser. And you're reading this article because Hellraiser series in development with HBO?
I like what HBO does, so this has got my interest.
Yeah, absolutely, me too. Being like one of my favorite horror franchises ever, this is kind of like very interesting to me because I love seeing what HBO does with their shows and with the budget that they have, and they can get the right people in the circle and be able to do something good with this. Because I feel like this franchise hasn't had good people come in and do its justice. So this is kind of like this is exciting for me as a horror fan to see this kind of in development already.
I feel like if we find out it's on HBO Max, it might be better news for this, because I feel like right now, if I was HBO, I feel like HBO at this moment, not if I was HBO, but I feel like what they are doing because of HBO Max is coming out,
right,
is possibly pushing their more how do I put this, talented resources towards HBO Max, since they're probably making a big push for that right now.
Yeah, it's the streaming wars, after Disney did it, so it's like, everyone's just fighting for like dominance.
If it's on regular HBO, it still may be good, but I'll be more reserved about how to feel about this until I see it.
Yeah, same here. So I don't know if you want to go and read some of this article, because I know there's some people on here that I'm kind of excited for.
Okay, yeah, so this is over here on Variety.com. You sent it over here earlier today, and it says, HBO is in the market to raise hell. The network is currently developing a series based on the Hellraiser film franchise, which in turn was based off of Clive Barker's novella, The Hellbound Heart. Variety has confirmed. So it looks like they're developing a series. Later on, it says the prospective series will not be a reboot of the Hellraiser, but rather an elevated continuation and expansion of its mythology, according to sources with knowledge of the project.
Okay,
what do you think about that?
So this is interesting because we've talked about this before, about like how John Carpenter took his movies, all those sequel movies, and when he made his new one, he kind of just like disregarded all of those and just continued on. Do you think, because this in quotations, an elevated continuation? Elevated continuation. That sounds like it's pulling itself out of that timeline, but like kind of like expanding upon different avenues that maybe Clive Barker or people close to him know that he wanted to go with it instead of the way it went.
So maybe what you're saying is maybe taking the things, maybe going off of the good movies.
Yeah, I think he's gonna take the pieces, because even how in Halloween he still played homage to like Halloween like 3 with like the masks and certain things like that. I think that's what he's gonna do here, or that's at least what it sounds like, is that they're gonna pretty much take the good parts of that, but they're gonna elevate it and make their own standing thing, kind of more close to what Clive's vision was more aligned for. That's what it sounds like.
I'm not too familiar with the Hellraiser franchise. I just maybe our audience can let us know, but was it, do you know if it was one of those franchises that, like how all the slasher or like iconic character horror movies went back then, where the first few were really good and then they got kind of goofy towards the end?
Yeah, I've watched the first 3, Hellraiser 1, Hellraiser 2, and then Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and those 3 were pretty good. I felt like the second one was a little rushed, because it was literally a year after, and then the third one came out in 92, and it felt like they took a little more time. I haven't really seen a lot past that, because it did get a little goofy for me, and I've seen clips and stuff, and I kind of chimed in when other people were watching, and I just sat down and saw like I think part of the 7th one, and it seemed more goofy, and it seems like a trending thing when it comes to these type of movies. The farther they go on, at least back then, it got a little more kind of wacky.
Yes.
And,
okay,
and you could see that in the second one too. Actually, it gets kind of wacky, but I mean, even the plot of Hellraiser is kind of mystical. So
I'm guessing they'll loosely connect to all of them, but more strongly connected to the earlier movies.
Yeah, because when it says an elevated continuation, that sounds like they're pulling out things and then continuing on their own kind of trajectory, but still recognizing those movies, but kind of ignoring that timeline.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've thought of doing other franchises like that. I've thought of other franchises that could do the same thing.
Right.
So that makes sense. Okay, so let's keep on going down here. It says, and please excuse me if I pronounce these names incorrectly. It says Mark Verheiden and Michael Daughtry are writing the project, while David Gordon Green, whose credits include Halloween and whose long-standing relationship with HBO extends to Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, and The Righteous Gemstones, is attached to direct several episodes.
Okay.
And those shows that they just said right there, Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, and The Righteous Gemstones, they're all comedies, but they're good quality comedies. They're all funny.
Right.
So,
and these guys got a pretty good reputation. Like Michael Daughtry, I'm going to pull up his IMDb right here. And this is the writer, or he's actually said, it says in that article, they're said to direct a few episodes. So that's interesting because this guy's known for writing Trick or Treat. So all you horror fans that like your anthology kind of movies out there, like Creepshow, stuff like that. He's going to be directing, it sounds like, a few of these episodes. He's also the writer for Krampus, Superman Returns, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So those are some pretty good movies.
Well, I like King of the Monsters.
Like those are some pretty good movies. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to take that director's chair when it comes to some of these episodes. And I've heard a lot of times that new directors get their start in television shows. So we might see Michael Daughtry directing some horror films, later on if this goes pretty good.
Did he direct the Godzilla movie?
No, he wrote it from what it says here on his IMDb. Yeah, he was the writer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't see anything for. Oh, he is said to direct a few things. It says here Trick or Treat 2 is coming out, so that's a whole nother video that we could definitely have to make. It gave him director credit for Godzilla King of the Monsters, but it says here on IMDb he was the writer, so I'm not sure.
I think I follow him on Twitter.
He might have co-directed or something. Oh no, it says he directed and wrote it, so he did both.
Yeah, I've seen it. I follow him on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I've seen him post stuff about it.
Right, so that's interesting that he's going to be directing the Hellraiser, so that's going to be kind of cool. But he has ties into the horror genre already, so that's a good person I think to already have on the list.
Just everybody you mentioned, or everybody that we read about here in this article, I'm not too worried. I think it has potential to be something.
Right. Okay, and let's continue on because I think this next paragraph is really important.
You want to take it from here?
Sure, I'll take it from here because this next paragraph I think is crucial to what this show's going to be. But here it says, this new project is unrelated to the big screen Hellraiser revival from Dark Knight writer David S. Goyer, which was announced at Spyglass Media Group almost a year ago.
Okay, so there is also a revival.
Yes, so I have that article here too that I'm going to pull up. So Hellraiser revival. So we were kind of doing some research into this, trying to figure out what this actually is going to be. And from the article here, so I'm going to just read a few paragraphs of it to give you guys a kind of a context. But it says Clive Barker's 1987 horror movie Hellraiser is getting the revival treatment at Gary Barber's Spyglass Media Group. The Dark Knight writer David S. Goyer is on board to produce and pen the script.
This is a movie. This is a completely separate from this HBO show.
Yes, this is a movie. So this is completely separate from the show that is now in development with HBO. So it also says Spyglass will finance, develop, and fast-track the film for worldwide theatrical distribution. This marks the first project since the company announced its relaunch. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to keep going down. And it says there was a part, right here. So Barber said, this is a big quote too, I think, that is important for the franchise and its future. Barber said, Clive and I go back more than 30 years together. So that's a good friend of him then. So that's someone that I can trust, I guess, knowing his vision for this franchise, right? And then it says, for generations, his brilliantly twisted and imaginative Hellraiser haunted the minds of moviegoers with its searing imagery of Pinhead. David is the perfect storyteller to continue Clive's vision for a new theatrical version of Hellraiser. So, new theatrical version of Hellraiser sounds to us kind of like what?
Like a reboot, right?
That's what it kind of sounds like to me. I don't know if it's going to be coined Hellraiser Revival, but because it's not in quotations here, but at the same time, it sounds like from the beginning it's getting the revival treatment. So to me, it sounds like
because revival, you think they're going to bring it back and continue the continuity, but that's what the show is doing, and they said the show is not involved with what this is, so it's a little bit confusing. I wonder why they just didn't go with the wordage of reboot.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's what it's going to be, but it sounds like it could be, or it could be a continuation off of Hellraiser, or was it Judgment in 2018, which didn't get a lot of good praise. I haven't even personally seen it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. I just reading these articles, it kind of popped up on one of our like sidebars here, and then we saw it, and I'm like, what the heck? So yeah, it said it was the hell. So this is a completely different thing as well. Hellraiser Judgment was a 2018 film.
Yep.
Apparently, it is the 10th installment in the franchise, which I did not know Hellraiser had that many installments.
You know, and it's funny because I followed the first three, and then after that, like I said, I jumped off at Bloodline, and I totally forgot that they were making more of these. But you know what? I'm going to actually start going back and rewatching all of these because if this is going to be a continuation onto the series or onto the franchise, I want to know what was going on here, and seeing for this new show, if they're going to be referencing any of these older movies, I want to kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, for me, I'm most excited for the HBO show. The HBO show, to me, seems like it has the most potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could dive more into the mythology and the lore behind Pinhead and the Cenobites and all of the story elements that we probably didn't really get to see throughout the movies, and maybe even some new concepts that Clive has probably kind of had, hidden away that now he can get revived. Oh, wow, look at that. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's got his friends around this property, though, right now, and they're trying to help it get back to what his original kind of vision was for it. That's kind of what it sounds like to me, but
I wonder if they're going to try to build, even though they're not connected, use the show to kind of build up to the movie.
Right.
Just to get in everybody's consciousness, like, oh, Hellraiser's back, this and that. And then all of a sudden you see the trailer for a movie, even though it's not connected, you already have it in your mind. So you're like, oh, wow, I want to go see that movie.
And when you have an iconic horror icon like Hellraiser, in the horror community, you're going to catch some attention. For our actual horror fans, we're going to like this, hopefully.
I wonder if we're going to have some sort of like not revival, but a comeback of these like 80s like iconic characters, because you have Michael Myers that's currently going on. They're doing 2 movies right now, aren't they?
Yes.
And then now you're going to have Hellraiser back. I wonder if Jason will come back or if they'll do another attempt with Freddy. I did see something with Robert Englund, which we could, or is it Englund?
Yeah, Robert Englund. Yep, he's the one who played Freddy. With
Robert Englund, that we could probably talk about in a separate video.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I've been hearing things, and I'm wondering if all the like iconic ones are coming back. They tried with Chucky. I think we can talk about that again on a separate video as well.
Oh, God.
But I'm just wondering, if they're gonna all come back.
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like they're kind of just trying to reamp and try to get these back in the spotlight. So this is very interesting and very, very exciting as a horror fan. Especially, I don't think Hellraiser's gotten its due justice with its films. So I think this is going to be very exciting to see a new possible reboot or add-on. Either one, as long as it's done properly, I'll be happy. And even a new show, which I'm even more excited for.
Oh yeah, I'm more excited for the show.
All right, so I think that does it for this video. So tell us what you guys thought in the comments. What do you think this revival movie is going to be about, with David S. Goyer, possibly producing and writing this, and as well as this HBO show Hellraiser in development. So this is very exciting stuff for us horror fans. And if you like that type of content, hit subscribe, definitely stay tuned because we're going to be busting out a bunch of content for this channel, and we will keep you up to date on any horror news that is out there. And I'm your host.
Non-stop horror news.
Yeah, nonstop. And even other types of content that we got planned. Me and the Turtle Den wanted to do this channel for a long time, and now it's here, and we're going to be cutting deep into some stuff. So stay tuned, guys.
Perfect.